Hello everyone. In this video we're going to be discussing what level design really is. So in order to make a level you need to really understand what goes into the thought process and theory behind it. So what we're going to do in this video is break down the words level and design, then we're going to combine them, and then we're going to discuss exactly what level design is. So let's get started. First up, let's break them down into the most basic idea, the most basic definition. So a level is just going to be an area where something can happen or something will happen, okay? In design is basically the act of thinking about what you are creating while you are creating it for the purpose of telling a story that evokes emotion. And a lot of people also call this art or artwork, okay? So keep in mind, I did not mention gaming at all, okay? So again, a level is an area where something will happen, and the design is the act of thinking about what you're creating while you're creating it for the sole purpose of telling a story and evoking emotion. So now let's combine those real quick and see what we get. Level design is the act of creating an area where a story will unfold for the purpose of immersing a person in the story, not a player, a person in the story, while something is happening to the point that that person feels emotions and thus wants to partake or participate in the story. Okay, that's a pretty interesting idea, right? Level design is the act of creating an area to immerse a player, tell a story, and make them want to participate because of emotions. It's really interesting when you think about it. So basically, if you keep in mind, I did not mention gaming, game development, or anything, because level design has nothing to do with the game making process. Games are just an interactive tool to help a person tell a story. Okay? Games or video games are just tools to help tell a story. So even though level designer is a job at a game company, it's technically not something that you do in the game industry. You're using a lot of skills outside of the game industry to make the level for a game in the game industry. So let's think about this a little bit. The game industry jobs that you've probably heard relating to level design could be a 3D modeler, a texture artist, a lighter, a level builder, a world builder, or a level scripter, maybe even a couple of other jobs as well, but these are the main ones. If you think about it, all of these are production jobs. All of these are people working to actually build the level. No one is designing anything. All of the designing is already done for these people. They're the ones just doing the work. Okay? So if they're the ones just doing the work and they're making all the artwork and all the assets, and then, I forgot audio, but the audio person's making the audio, and the level and world builders are building them, and the level scripter is making everything happen, all the mechanics work and everything, then, what exactly is a designer doing? Well, it depends on the company. At a larger company, the designer could possibly be doing their own job. At a smaller company, you might be doing the designer job plus all of these other jobs as well. But let's take a look at just level design. What exactly is level design? Level design is a lot of things that you would not think about. Level design is architecture. Level design is interior design. It's landscaping. It's environmental design. It's entertainment design. And it's construction. Now, you might be scratching your head a little bit. None of these have anything to do with gaming or video games. Another interesting thing is that every single one of these have their own 4-year degree. Some of them have certificates. Some of them have master's degrees. Some of them take 30 years of apprenticeship. There's all kinds of weird stuff that goes into each one of these that makes each one of these their own intense creative field. So if a level designer has to know all of this, what are you supposed to do? Well, that's the fun part. You take as much information as you can to help build an engaging level that matches the story and the interactivity and the gameplay and the mechanics and everything else of the game you're trying to create. So you, as the level designer, must understand and dive deep into all of these subject matters: architecture, interior design, landscaping, environment design, entertainment design, and construction. It's up to you to learn as much as you can about all of these to help you be a better level designer for a game. So let's break these down a little bit. So architecture. Architecture is defined as both the process and product of planning, designing, and construction, usually of buildings and other physical structures. So if you're a level designer, you could take this as all the structural, man-made content that's going to be in the level. If you're making something that's in the Gothic period, or the Stone Age, or something that's modern, you need to know what that means to architecture. For interior design, it's the process of developing design solutions that are safe, functional, attractive, and meet the needs of the people using the space. This is very interesting. A lot of architects and interior designers hate each other, and they actually argue a lot, and they feel that one does not need the other. So that's a whole another argument and a whole another time. But the interesting part is interior design focuses on function that are safe and attractive. A lot of good examples. If you're in a wheelchair and the place you go into does not have a ramp, it's not very functional. You can't physically get into the building. So interior designers design around things like that. Interior designers know that if a building is more than one story, you might want to put an elevator in to get people up and down faster. You might want more space, less space. You might want a 90-degree angle here, a 45-degree angle there. Okay, interior design is all about making the space functional. Another one, landscaping. Landscaping is a profession which involves manipulating the natural environment in an area to make it look a certain way. Now this does not mean cutting the grass, right? Because when have you ever cut a grass in a video game level? Landscaping is more like, how many feet apart do the bushes need to be? How many feet apart does a light pole need to be on the side of a road? How tall are the bushes and trees going to be? Can you get through the bushes and trees? Is there a pathway? Things like that. Making that natural environment look the way you need it to look to help tell the story. Entertainment design. This is a fun one. This is the art of creating experiences that excite the mind. Theme parks and rides, special events, live shows, exhibits, museums, and themed restaurants are just a few examples. Okay? Think about it. The last time you went to Universal Studios or Disney or any theme park in your area of the world, those are designed for entertainment. Every time you go around a corner, there's something fun to look at. There's games, there's restaurants, there's all these things that keep your senses heightened to give you a fun overall experience. Environment design. Environmental design is a human-centered discipline that is focused on the design of a user's total experience. We span the creative environment between spatial, object, and emotional communication. Environmental design is a mixture, I think, of interior design and entertainment design. A good example of environment design is the last time you went into a restaurant. Maybe some type of ice cream shop. So these environments are built mainly for marketing and advertising. They want the overall experience to be a good sales experience so that you come back time and time again. They want the entire environment to feel like the ice cream you're going to eat. So if the ice cream is going to be healthy and non-fat and has, gluten-free and all these things, they're going to make the environment feel that way as well. How they do that is totally up to them and the experience that they want to provide, but they're designing the environment. Then lastly, we have construction. It's the actual process of building things and understanding why you're building it, how to build it, what materials go into building it, and how long it will take to build it. So this is interesting. For example, when you're building a level inside of UDK or some other game engine and you know that the building is going to explode, you need to understand construction because concrete is built in cubes. And inside those cubes is something called rebar, pieces of metal that goes through it. And then there's different types of concrete and different types of brick, and then there's paint and plaster and nails and screws and all these things that you never think about when you're building a fake virtual environment. Okay? There's different types of concrete, there's different types of asphalt, there's different things that go into construction that you'll need to understand as well for the purposes of building a level. So again, when it comes to the actual act of building a level, you have people like 3D modelers, texture artists, lighters, level builders, world builders, level scripters. But when it comes to designing a level, You as the level designer needs to dive into things like architecture, interior design, landscaping, environmental design, entertainment design, and construction. So I hope this video has cleared up a few things about level design, and I hope you can really dive into those other subjects as well to help your levels become even more awesome.